Hey guys, this is Nate. I just wanted to show you guys this ammo box. Shit hit the fan power bank that I was working on. So here it is right here. It's made out of a 50 cal ammo box. Let's see if I can get it to focus. Alright, so pretty much this is my version 2. I had a bigger one that was about 30% larger, and I was like, let me see if I can just fit everything in this smaller box. And I don't know if anybody else has a box with this many features that is this small. So let me just give you a tour real quick. We'll open it up here. Alright, so right here we have a 35 amp hour battery. I picked it up from Harbor Freight. It was about 70 bucks. And the main power from the positive terminal runs into this 6-way fuse block down here. And right now I only have three lines hooked up to it. I have a 20 amp fuse that is running the inverter, and I also have a second fuse here just in case. And it is running through a 20 amp LED switch right here. And then I have the a power cord hooked up that I hooked up to a power outlet right there. And then I have one power line that goes directly to the cigarette lighter, and another power line goes to feed all 4 of these switches. I'll show you more about that in a minute. But up here we have this meter that tells you the voltage, the power in watts, the current, and the total energy that it puts out. And I got 4 switches here. This one is just for these 2 LED floodlights, and those are just for emergencies kind of. And then I have a green LED switch here just to power up a single USB or dual USB unit. And then I have these other 2 here that are controlled by this switch. So the reason I did that is so that if you just need to charge 1 or 2 things, you don't have to have these other ones drawing power for no reason. And then if you need to charge 4 things, you can turn this one off and turn these ones on, and this one won't waste any extra power. Now the way that I charge it, I can either charge it with a regular 3 amp battery charger through the cigarette lighter port, since the power can go both ways, or I can charge it with a small solar panel with the solar charge controller mounted directly to the back of the panel, and then a cigarette lighter attached to that. And this meter can be used to monitor the incoming power, but you have to install a special switch, and I didn't bother because I didn't care that much. So right now it's only showing power consumption, not charging information. But right now I want to show you guys that it is powering a PlayStation 4 and a 65-inch LED TV. Right now the TV brightness is on low to medium, because if it really does make 100-watt difference if it's turned up all the way. So right now it's drawing close to 140, and since it's a 35 amp hour battery, it really shouldn't be used to run this for very long, but it can do it. Just to show you guys, here it is, PlayStation and the TV. And then just to show you guys that it's not fake, I'll actually turn off the inverter and you can watch it shut off, even though it's not good for the PlayStation. So here we go. Go ahead and turn that off, and everything's off. And you can see that the voltage spiked back up, and now the only thing that's drawing any power are these 2 LEDs. So if I turn that off, it drops down even lower, all the way to 0, even though the meter is using some. Alright, so more to the wiring and how I put it together. I used a lot of tips and information from the YouTuber JDS Outdoors. He actually has all of the parts that you need. As far as the sizes that you need and the tools for these kinds of things, the 12-volt cigarette lighter and the USBs, they use a 1 1/8 inch hole saw, and then I attack it with a razor blade just to make everything really flush. And then this one, I kind of just marked it with an Expo marker, and then used a razor blade to cut that out. The switches, the LED switches, they use a 3/4 inch spade bit or hole saw, it doesn't matter. And then these LEDs over here, they're a lot bigger on the outside than they are on the inside. They use a 3/8 inch hole. And this is just one of those outdoor outlet covers with a regular black power outlet. Nothing fancy. Alright. And then I know some of you guys are probably going to say, well, the inverter is not going to be able to breathe and it's going to overheat. But for this size battery, you really shouldn't be running anything more than a lamp or a laptop. So it shouldn't really overheat. Alright. So you guys are probably wondering, what is this weird thing on top of the battery? This is the shunt for the meter. So pretty much you have the negative battery terminal that goes on this side. Let me get this to focus better. And then all of the load side has to run through it. And then I just used some Cat 5 to wire up the meter, just like this. There's actually a green wire and a blue stripe wire hooked up to this side, and then the blue wire hooked up on this side. It doesn't matter what colors you use, as long as you follow the wiring diagram. Okay, so everything just runs over here. I use hot glue to hold everything in place because it's not permanent, but it holds really well. Okay, so here's the wiring diagram for the shunt, and it says that these 4 terminals need to be hooked up at these 4 locations, and then you're good to go. And it really does have to be hooked up that way. I tried to hook up the positive and the negative to one of these switches over here, and it didn't like it. It needs to have those direct lines all the way to the stupid shunt. All right. These are the 2 USBs that are connected together. And then this is the one that's by itself. And everything is sharing the same ground. All of the switches are connected to the same ground. The USBs are all connected to the same ground. I had it all home run in the first box, and it really doesn't make a difference except that you're wasting a bunch of wire. So it's just a lot cleaner if you jump all the grounds together. Like I used this, I used 14 gauge wire for all of the regular wiring, 10 gauge for the inverter, and then I shoved all of the grounds inside of this one 10 gauge spade connector. So this has the negative from the cigarette lighter, it has the negatives from everything else too. And then I just have this little negative splitter right here, just right before it finally reaches the main negative over here. And if you're wondering about the power outlet, the way I mounted it is you just cut a hole a little bigger than the power outlet, and this is just a mud-in box. And the 2 little tabs on the power outlet kind of sandwich it in here. And then this whole thing is held in with one little screw. I don't know if you can see it. But I was looking at the Anchor Powerhouse. It was $500. And it doesn't really compare to this box. This box has way more capacity. It has a much stronger inverter, although the Anchor Powerhouse does have a pure sine wave inverter, but it's only 100 watts. You can't really do much with that. And it has 5 USB ports, and mine has 6. So, but the main difference, and the reason I did this, is because all of these parts are replaceable and user serviceable, and none of the ones in that Powerhouse are. All of the lithium-ion cells that are in there are spot welded together and really hard to get to, and I can just simply open this up, and if anything goes bad, I can replace it. Any fuses blow, I can replace them. There's not really anything that you can't replace in here. So that's pretty much it, guys, and I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope it helped you out. If there's anybody else that has a box with more features in this that's smaller or that you think is better, comment it down below and I'll check it out, because I'm always trying to learn more every day. And that's pretty much it. So I hope you have a good day and Happy New Year.